My name is Myra Whitmore. I am 34 years old, a cardiology resident, and a single mother of 3-year-old twins. 2 months ago, I was lying in an emergency room, bleeding internally after a car accident. My hands were shaking as I dialed my parents' number. I needed someone, anyone, to watch Lily and Lucas for just a few hours while doctors tried to save my life. What I got instead was a text message in our family group chat that read, "You've always been a nuisance and a burden. We have Taylor Swift tickets with Vanessa tonight. Figure it out yourself." So I did. From my hospital bed, I called a nanny service, paid triple the rate, and made a decision that would change everything. I cut them off completely. The monthly mortgage payments, the health insurance, the car repairs, everything I'd been quietly paying for over the past 8 years was gone. 2 weeks later, there was a knock on my door. Before I tell you who was standing there and what happened next, take a moment to like and subscribe if you genuinely enjoy this story. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. I love connecting with you. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. Growing up in the Carver household, I learned early that love came with a ranking system. My older sister Vanessa was the star. She always had been. She was 3 years older than me, effortlessly beautiful, and possessed a magnetic charm that made our parents light up whenever she entered a room. When she announced she wanted to pursue fashion design, my mother cried happy tears. My father called her their little visionary. When I said I wanted to become a doctor, my father nodded and said, "That's practical." That was it. Practical. I told myself it didn't matter. I buried myself in textbooks, aced every exam, and clawed my way into one of the top medical schools in the country. 4 years of undergraduate studies, 4 years of medical school, and 3 years of residency specializing in cardiology followed. The day I graduated from medical school should have been one of the proudest moments of my life. My parents arrived 2 hours late. "Sorry, sweetheart," my mother said, not quite meeting my eyes. "Vanessa had an emergency meeting with a potential investor. We had to drop her off first." There were no flowers, no celebration dinner, just a quick photo in the parking lot before they rushed off because Vanessa needed emotional support after her meeting. I remembered Vanessa's first fashion show 3 years earlier. The whole family flew to New York, stayed in a 5-star hotel, and sat front row. My father posted 17 photos on Facebook with captions like, "So proud of our talented girl." I got a parking lot photo and a lukewarm, "Congrats, honey." I told myself it made sense. Fashion was competitive. Vanessa needed more support. Medicine was stable. I could handle things on my own. What I didn't realize then was that my parents' favoritism wasn't just emotional, it was financial. And I was the one footing the bill. It started 8 years ago, right after I finished medical school. My father called one evening, his voice tight with embarrassment. "Myra, we're in a bit of a bind. The mortgage payment is due, and things are tight this month. Could you help us out? Just this once." I transferred $2,400 that night without hesitation. They were my parents. Of course I would help. But just this once became every month. The mortgage, then the health insurance premiums, $800 monthly, after my father's company dropped their coverage. Then came the emergencies, car repairs, roof leaks, a new furnace. I never said no. Not once. When I got pregnant with the twins and their father walked out during my 5th month, I called my parents from the hospital after a frightening bleeding episode. I was terrified, alone, and desperate for support. "Oh, honey, we wish we could come," my mother said. "But Vanessa is so stressed after her show in Milan. She really needs us right now." They didn't come. Not for the birth, not for the first month when I was barely sleeping, nursing 2 newborns while studying for my board exams. But the automatic transfers kept going out. $20,400 for the mortgage, $800 for insurance, and whatever else they needed. I kept a spreadsheet. I don't know why. Maybe some part of me needed to see it in black and white. 8 years, roughly $320,000. I never asked for gratitude. I never expected praise. But I never expected to be called a burden by the people I'd been carrying for nearly a decade. The accident happened on a Tuesday evening. I was driving home after a 16-hour shift. My eyes were heavy, but I was alert. The light turned green. I pulled into the intersection. I never saw the truck. It ran the red light at 50 miles an hour. The impact slammed into my driver's side door. Glass exploded. Metal screamed. The world spun, and then everything went black. I woke up in an ambulance, pain searing through my abdomen. A familiar face hovered above me. "Myra, can you hear me?" It was Dr. Marcus Smith, an emergency physician at my hospital. We'd worked together for 2 years. "You were in an accident. We're taking you in now. Possible internal bleeding. You're going to need surgery." Surgery? The word hit me like a second collision. "My kids," I whispered. "They're with the babysitter. She leaves at 8. Marcus checked his watch. It was 7:15. I had 45 minutes. I fumbled for my phone with shaking hands and dialed my parents' number. It rang 4 times. "Myra," my father said impatiently. "We're about to leave. What is it?" "Dad, I need help," I gasped. "I was in an accident. I'm being taken to surgery. Please, I need you and Mom to watch the twins for just a few hours." There was silence, muffled voices. My mother sounded annoyed. Vanessa laughed in the background. Then the line went dead. My phone buzzed. A message in the family group chat from my mother. "You've always been a nuisance and a burden. We have Taylor Swift tickets with Vanessa tonight. Figure it out yourself." Another message followed from my father. "You're a doctor. You're used to hospitals. Don't make this a bigger deal than it needs to be." Then Vanessa sent a laughing emoji. That was it. A laughing emoji while I lay bleeding in an ambulance. Marcus saw my screen. "Myra," he said gently. "What did they say?" I couldn't answer. Something inside me shattered. I asked for his phone, searched for an emergency nanny service, authorized, triple pay, and solved the problem myself in 4 minutes. Before my phone died, I asked him to screenshot the messages. He did. The surgery lasted 4 hours. A ruptured spleen, another few minutes, and I might not have survived. I spent 5 days in the hospital. 5 days of IV drips, morphine haze, and nurses checking my vitals. Not one call, not one text, not one visit from my parents. On the 3rd day, I asked for my laptop. I logged into my banking app and canceled every automatic transfer. Then I blocked my parents and Vanessa. There was no drama, no tears, just relief. 2 weeks later, there was a knock on my door. Standing there was my grandfather, Thomas, a tall man in his 70s, silver hair neatly combed, posture still carrying the authority of his 40 years as a federal judge. He hugged me tightly. "I know everything," he said. He invited me to his 70th birthday party. "The whole family will be there," he said. "And some things need to be said." At the party, my parents tried to paint me as unstable. Vanessa whispered lies. Then my grandfather spoke, calmly, clearly. He revealed every payment, every dollar, over $360,000. He read the text message aloud. When he finished, he turned to me. I stepped forward and spoke the truth. I said I wasn't strong to them. I was convenient. I said I was done buying love that should have been free. The fallout was swift. My parents sold their house. Vanessa lost contracts. I redirected my money into college funds for my children. Months later, Vanessa called to apologize. I listened. I didn't rescue her. Today, my life is quieter, healthier, mine. I learned that love is not something you earn by suffering. It is something freely given, or it isn't love at all. If someone calls your self-respect betrayal, they never deserved your loyalty. And if you are carrying a weight that was never yours, it is okay to put it down. You are not a burden. You are finally free. The fallout was swift. My parents sold their house. Vanessa lost contracts. I redirected my money into college funds for my children. Months later, Vanessa called to apologize. I listened. I didn't rescue her. Today, my life is quieter, healthier, mine. I learned that love is not something you earn by suffering. It is something freely given, or it isn't love at all. If someone calls your self-respect betrayal, they never deserved your loyalty. And if you are carrying a weight that was never yours, it is okay to put it down. You are not a burden. You are finally free. The moment the truth settled into her chest, Myra did not cry. Instead, she felt a strange calm spread through her body, as if the storm she had been fighting for years had finally passed. She understood now that the pain she carried was never a sign of weakness, but proof of how much she had survived. Every insult, every doubt, every lonely night had shaped her into someone far stronger than those who tried to break her. She straightened her shoulders and took a deep breath, realizing that healing did not mean forgetting the past, but learning to walk forward without letting it control her. In the days that followed, Myra began to change in small but powerful ways. She stopped explaining herself to people who never wanted to understand her. She chose silence over arguments and confidence over fear. Each morning, she reminded herself that her worth was not decided by opinions, failures, or mistakes, but by her courage to keep going. Slowly, her voice grew steadier, her steps more certain, and the heaviness in her heart began to lift. The mirror no longer reflected someone broken, but someone rebuilding. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Myra stood alone and allowed herself a quiet smile. She knew her journey was not over, and challenges would still come, but they no longer terrified her. She had learned that strength is born in the moments when no one is watching, and hope survives even in the darkest corners. With renewed resolve, she turned toward the future, ready to write the next chapter of her life on her own terms, carrying not bitterness, but wisdom forward. At the party, my parents tried to paint me as unstable. Vanessa whispered lies. Then my grandfather spoke, calmly, clearly. He revealed every payment, every dollar, over $360,000. He read the text message aloud. When he finished, he turned to me. I stepped forward and spoke the truth. I said I wasn't strong to them. I was convenient. I said I was done buying love that should have been free.